So we're going to start our conversation about set operations by doing a little bit of sorting. So I've set my three sets up here, 1, 2, and 3, as the letters in the words exaggeration, jacketed, and quasi-morphism, which is an obscure math term that perhaps you'll have the pleasure of encountering someday in the future. So to do this, we're going to need a Venn diagram. And so Venn diagrams have a circle for each set. So if I have three sets, I'm going to need three circles. One for set 1, one for set 2, and the third for set 3. So I'm going to go through these letters one by one and start sorting them. So you notice that there is an E in both exaggeration and jacketed, but not quasimorphism. So in this diagram, the place where I am in 1 and 2, but not 3, is right here. This segment here. Notice it is within the circle for 1, within the circle for 2, but not inside the circle for 3. So since that E is located in this word and this word, I'm going to put it in that section. Letter X, if I look, is only in exaggeration. It isn't in the other words. So the only place that is in this set but not the other two is over here. So that's where that goes. The A is in exaggeration, jacketed, and quasimorphism. So it needs to go in the place where all three sets intersect, and the only place that happens is here in the middle. So in goes the A. So if I keep going through this, G's are only in this word. We already have the E. R is in exaggeration and quasimorphism. So exaggeration and quasimorphism would be here. A we already have. T is in exaggeration and jacketed. That's here. I is in exaggeration and quasimorphism, which is here. O is in exaggeration and quasimorphism, which is here. N is only in exaggeration. J, C, K, T, and D are only in this word. Q, U, S, M, P, and H are only in this word. So I'm just going to go through and spell my words to make sure that I have all the letters accounted for. So exaggeration was E, X, A, G, G, E, R, A, T, I, O, N. That's good. Jacketed was J, A, C, K, E, T, E, D. Everything's accounted for. And quasimorphism was Q, U, A, S, I, M, O, R, P, H, I, S, M. So everything is accounted for. Now if we were to go through the rest of the alphabet, you notice there are some letters missing. So if we can all sing along together. A, B, I don't have. C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. So I have all of the letters of the alphabet sorted now from those words, which were, let me fill them back in for you, exaggeration, jacketed, and quasimorphism. So now that we're sorted, we're going to start doing some set operations. So the first symbol that we need to talk about is this big U here. The big U means union. The union of two sets. The way that you're going to interpret that in English language instead of using this word is the word or. So if you see that, it's saying or. So the first set that we're going to look at is what's contained in the set 1 unions with 2. So if I read this in the symbols, it says, what letters are in the set of the word exaggeration or the set of letters in the word jacketed? So they don't have to meet both criteria, they just have to meet one. So if I were to go through and find this place in my Venn diagram, this is going to be anything that lies inside of this circle because it's in set 1, or everything that's in this circle because it's in set 2. So if I start going through the list there, within set 1 I have X, G, and N. I have R, I, and O. I have A, T, and E. So those are the things that were in set 1. Now I need to include the things that were also that were in set 2, because those ones count as well. So I need to add those letters: J, C, K, T, D. So to fact check your work, you can go down here, pick anything like this letter V here. Well, why didn't I take the letter V? Well, V is not in I, and V is not in 2. It wasn't in exaggeration, it wasn't in jacketed, so it doesn't belong in this set. Pick a letter from here, Q. Q was not in exaggeration, nor was it in jacketed, so it does not belong in this set. So when you see that U, you think about the idea of or. It only has to meet one of the two conditions. So, for example, if you are allowed to go on a field trip because you're in grade 12 or you are taking data management, that would mean that anybody in grade 12 gets to get on that bus regardless of whether they're taking data management or not. But the other side of it is if you're taking data management and not in grade 12, you still get to go on the field trip because you didn't have to meet both criteria, you just had to meet one. So or makes these big unions, well, that's why it's a union of sets. So you end up with these pretty long answers. The second symbol we need to work with is this one, the upside down U, and that is an intersection. And the way you're going to read that one in plain English is as the word and. So in the previous little example there, where you had going on a field trip if you were in data management and in grade 12, that's exclusionary. That means that any of those people that are taking this course who happen to be in grade 11 don't get to go. Which is kind of mean, so we're not going to do that. I prefer unions. They're much more inclusive. And then this word intersection, if you're at the intersection of Main Street and King Street, and you go stand right in the center of that intersection, you are standing on King and Main. You're standing on both roads. So that's why they're using that particular word for this concept. So the first one we're going to look at is set 1 intersection with set 2, so that we can compare what this looks like versus what this looks like. If I were to go and look in my set number 1 over here, so that's the words and the letters in the word exaggeration, this X is in exaggeration, but it didn't meet the criteria of being in jacketed. So X doesn't get to come on the field trip. It gets left behind. This letter here, the J, it met the criteria of being in jacketed, but it was not in exaggeration. So it doesn't get to go either. The only people who get to play, get to get on that bus and go to that particular field trip, are the ones who are in both. And that's this segment here. You can see the overlap between the letters in the word exaggeration and the letters in the word jacketed. So the letters that land in there are 8. Notice that they made it into both sets. These letters are in exaggeration or jacketed. They're also in exaggerated and jacketed. But by using this symbol, we cut out all of these ones because they failed to be in the word jacketed, and all of these ones because they failed to be in the word exaggeration. You see how this really limits your set, or shrinks it down. Next one I want to try is set 3 and not in set 1. So you see this little thing here? Whenever I put a little dash on it, it means not in that one. So I want to find all the letters that are in quasimorphism and not in exaggeration. So if I find those letters here, here's my circle for quasimorphism. These ones here happen to also fall into exaggeration. So they don't get to come because they've been forbidden by this condition. So if I were to take a look, the letters that are in quasimorphism and not in exaggeration are Q, U, M, P, H, S, whatever a quumph is, plural, because there's many of them. Lovely. Third one I'd like to look at is if we were to do in set 1 and 2 and 3. So now that I've put in 3 conditions, I have to meet all 3 in order to count in the set. So if you look at all of these letters and you find the place that is in this circle and this circle and this circle, it's a pretty lonely place. The only letter in there is the A. Lovely. Last example before we try and name this little empty space here. I'd like to try in 1 and 3, but not 2. Now to make that say not 2, I'm going to put the little tag on there. A little prime is what that's called. So I have to find the sets that are in 1 and 3. Well, that's this little blurb here, this little bubble. But they can't be in 2. So that means that R, I, and O meet the criteria of being this one and not 2. The A gets left behind because of its jacketedness. So my letters would be R, I, and O. Lovely. So the last thing I'd like to do on this particular diagram is to name this segment here. I'm going to pick that one just because it happens to be empty. So that blue spot there, that is in this circle. It would be the letters that are in jacketed. It's also in this circle. Those are the letters in quasimorphism. But it does not include this A, which is a letter that happens to fall in exaggeration. So this particular section then would be the letters in jacketed and quasimorphism, but cannot include the letters in exaggeration. And to say not, I put the little prime on there. And of course, if you were to go through the list, there are no letters that are in jacketed and quasimorphism that don't also happen to land in exaggeration.